So these are some of the 100 block starts from Wednesday. Taking a look. There's full speed. Now as we're looking before they get into set position, assessing exactly what they're doing before they're in set. Montrell's shoulders are a little bit ahead of his hands. Andrew seems about right. And Jordan is back in his stance. Now, if your hands aren't directly beneath your shoulders like they need to be, okay, if you're sitting back like Jordan is, it becomes a problem because when you go into a set position, you're already sitting back. So the likelihood of you popping up if you're sitting back in the blocks increases dramatically. Now, while Montrell may be a little bit forward, because there's his shoulder right there and there's his hand, a little bit forward is better than sitting back in the blocks. It's a little bit more aggressive, and if you can push out hard enough, you can overcompensate for that. Andrew looks just about perfect where he is. So we advance it forward into the set position, taking a look at how high their hips rise. Their hips rise pretty well. Montrell is in a good spot, maybe a little too forward. Andrew looks absolutely perfect here, balanced. His hips maybe a shade high. If he got him down a little, his push could be harder, and he could get the trajectory that we're looking for out of the blocks. Now, the trajectory you're looking for out of the blocks is basically that nice angled line. That nice angled line, which I didn't draw. That nice angled line of the body. Okay? Not vertical, but a nice diagonal up where the body is moving forward. That's a much better line representation than the first one I drew. So we go from the set position, and notice Jordan still, his butt's down, his shoulders are way too high. He looks like he's horizontal when compared to Andrew or Montrell. And as I said, Montrell seems to be pointing a bit too much into the ground. Andrew's just about perfect. We move from here into the start and watch him push. And here's where you freeze frame it. Okay, you can already see Jordan's head coming up in the center. Montrell's head is down, pushing forward, which is excellent. And you can see that line from Montrell and Andrew, that nice diagonal coming straight down shoulders to feet, which is exactly what you're looking for. Now, Montrell, a little bit forward, got a better jump than Andrew, which it might be all due to reaction time. Andrew could have hesitated a little. Let's take a look at that again. Go backwards a little. They come out, reasonably speaking, together. That's just a very solid push by Montrell. Heads down. Andrew and Jordan come up a little bit too much. That line, you'll notice it. Montrell is still keeping that diagonal, while Andrew at this point and Jordan at this point are here, or they are there. If you look at Montrell, his line is still a lot more forward, much more forward than Andrew or Jordan, which is the better way to go, simply because what that allows you to do is that allows you to push harder off your foot and continue the push all the way through the first 20 to 30 meters of the race. You'll notice even here, Andrew is becoming vertical. Jordan is right there standing, and it's only within the first 10 meters that Montrell's head comes up. Much more aggressive on his part, much better at keeping the line all the way through the start in the first 10 meters. Let's take a look at some of the lady starts. Of course, Dante is not a lady, thrown into the crew. Take a look at how they come out. Notice in the set position, Katie in the middle is doing exactly what Jordan did in the video before. Erica, hands under hips, shoulders under hands, is what we were talking about. Shoulders under hands. Good line, maybe a little high, but compared to Katie in the middle, that is just, her butt is not up, her shoulders are too high. She's gonna press out. She's a better reactive starter than most other people. But if you're pushing out at this, the likelihood of popping up or stepping out instead of pushing out is incredible. And you can see that Dante's got the same kind of problem. Though his shoulders are there, Erica's body is ready to launch into the diagonal, ready to push out, way more so than what Dante's looking at. So Erica's probably going to take a line similar to that. Katie's going to be much higher up, and Dante from there seems like he's going to go straight up, which is not what you want out of the blocks. Because if you want to game, this is the place to game. And then the start itself, as they push out, notice each one of them tends to pop straight up. Notice the first movement they have is up instead of out. Erica gets it moving forward. Dante's head is down. Erica and Stamey, their heads are up. Still a pretty decent line. Now notice, the reason I paused it here is the loaded foot. If you notice, Stamey and Dante have that loaded leg, that leg that's still clawing underneath them, attempting to keep that diagonal line. Erica is already stepping out ahead of herself, and we are 2 steps in. Definitely something you don't want to do 2 steps in. You want to keep that foot loaded. You want to keep the hip action, front side. Paw the earth beneath you. And that is why, when you get to this point, Katie has beaten Erica out of the blocks. Much more aggressive at the hip. Full speed. Still popping, standing 2 vertical on that. Take a look at that again at full speed. Notice their chest, their center of mass pops up. We aren't even 2 steps in, and the diagonal is not wholly where you want it to be. You want it to be here. You don't want it to be here. You definitely don't want it to be here. You've got to push through the shin and keep that clean, low diagonal for the first 10 meters. You don't want to come up. That's a no-no. Makes a block start less effective and a standing start more effective. Stop here for now, and I'll go over the other ones in a minute or two.